She hesitated momentarily before I urged her again to transform. The sword's emerald glow dimmed, and its surface became rough and jagged, resembling a crude toy sword hacked out with an axe. Though its sharpness was hidden, it now appeared unremarkable. I nodded in satisfaction. Thunderstruck bamboo, shrink down. Naturally, a spiritual thunderstruck bamboo could adjust its size at will. The blade flickered with a blue-green light, rapidly shrinking into a miniature sword, no longer than a finger. It was as light as a feather, and I contentedly slipped it into my pocket. Let's hope you give me a pleasant surprise in 2 days. Zhang Jiuxuan's eyes sparkled briefly before she looked away. Then she led me back to the room and had me undress. She had bathed me before, so while I felt a bit shy, I stripped down within a minute. I sank into the tub, and Zhang Jiuxuan gently began washing me. I wanted to divine your fate, but this time the situation is unusual. The more I try, the greater the unpredictability, she said softly. I nodded, understanding that avoiding divination was the safest course. As she bathed me, she also massaged my muscles, easing the fatigue from my 6 days and nights of sleep. A wave of comfort washed over me, and I unconsciously let out, comfortable. Actually, I have a bad premonition. I feel like I've wronged you. Zhang Jiuxuan murmured, her voice heavy. Could there be danger ahead? The thought immediately sobered me. Could this have something to do with the golden aura above the Dragon King's palace roof that Murong Qingcheng had mentioned? The more I thought about it, the more cautious I became. This time, you're entering the lion's den, much like warriors of our era heading off to battle. By tradition, a wife must serve her husband well before he departs, providing hearty meals, beef, and wine, and ensuring there are no regrets at night. I failed to fulfill this during the day, so please forgive me, my husband. I'll make it up to you tonight. As Zhang Jiuxuan spoke, her gentle hands paused, her gaze meeting mine. She was always traditional. When we married, she promised to serve me as wives did in ancient times. Failing to do so naturally left her feeling guilty. I froze momentarily, my eyes unintentionally tracing the lines of her fingers, up her slender wrist, along her delicate arm, past her fragrant shoulder, and finally landing on her stunning face. Zhang Jiuxuan wore a look of gentle remorse, as if she'd done something wrong and owed me, her husband, an apology. I grew nervous. Master, what are you planning to do today? She chuckled softly and playfully tapped my chin with her finger, making me laugh as it tickled. Suddenly, with a swift motion, she peeled off the human skin mask from my face. For a brief moment, I was truly myself again, and the air seemed to grow fresher. You look much better this way, my husband. Now, do you want me? Zhang Jiuxuan asked, her gaze tender yet slightly teasing, her tone carrying a hint of awkwardness. I cleared my throat. Master, what exactly are you trying to say? I knew that if I gave in to her now, the consequences would be serious. I'm saying, my husband, that you can have me. I understand the thoughts of a man, and I know you've grown up, she said, her fingers resuming their gentle massage. No, that won't be necessary. I took a deep breath and quickly declined. Her lips curved into a faint smile as she continued washing me in her soft, soothing manner. Though my body felt relaxed, my mind was in torment. I admitted to myself that if I did give in, I'd feel guilty. But after all, I was no longer a child. After the bath, she prepared to help me put the mask back on. Instinctively, I grabbed her wrist, and she froze. Master, I won't touch you, I said, looking at her. Husband has been obedient since childhood, I know, she said, gently touching my forehead. Then, can I kiss you? I asked nervously, and before she could reply, I leaned in myself. The cold touch of her lips sent a jolt through my heart. Zhang Jiuxuan's eyes widened sharply, her body stiffened instantly. I wasn't greedy, I only brushed her lips lightly before pulling away. She glared at me, her eyes like sapphires. You? Her gaze suddenly turned sharp, ready to unleash her fury. Clinging to her like I used to as a child, I hugged her tightly. Master, don't hit me. When I was little and upset, I always loved hugging you. You're so cool to the touch, it's really comforting. At first, she struggled. But after a while, she stopped resisting and gradually softened in my arms. On impulse, I thought about taking things further. After all, we'd already bowed before heaven and earth as husband and wife. She was my wife now. She didn't resist too strongly, perhaps she might even shed tears and silently consent. But she'd never hit me, not even once. Suddenly, guilt extinguished my reckless thoughts. She was the master who raised me, someone I'd always regarded as an older sister. She married me to save me, how could I repay kindness with betrayal? Reason brought me back to my senses. I gently released her, and she stared at me. She wasn't angry, but there was a ripple of emotion in her eyes. Had enough mischief? Becoming more disobedient by the day. Come on, stand up. Let me help you wash up and get dressed, Zhang Jiuxuan said softly. I was puzzled. Did I really kiss her just now? Why wasn't she angry? I obediently stood up as she gently dried me off, her movements careful and meticulous. The more she cared for me, the more she reminded me of a devoted childhood bride. "Master, can I bathe myself next time?" I asked. "Am I not doing a good job?" she said while handing me clothes and not letting me dress myself. "It's not that, it's just... No. You have to be good and listen, or else I won't like you anymore," Jiang Joshuan said firmly, using the same tone she used to coax me as a kid. I felt a bit helpless. In her eyes, I was still a child. No wonder she wasn't angry when I kissed her earlier. I suspected that even if I touched her now, she'd just think I was the mischievous little boy I used to be. Jiang Joshuan finished helping me dress and placed the human skin mask over my face. The mask fit perfectly. She also infused it with a layer of concealed magic, as if a shield enveloped my skin, hiding my aura. After all, I hadn't met the Yellow River Dragon King yet. What if he recognized the human skin mask? "Don't take off this ghost jade. It'll protect you," Jiang Joshuan said, looking at the jade pendant on my chest. "Got it, Master," I nodded. I stored away the dragon vanquishing talisman and a few drops of dragon blood, fully aware that this mission meant almost certain death. Unable to resist, I hugged Jiang Joshuan again. My movements were honest and sincere, and she sensed my nervousness. She patted my back gently. "Xiaoshiba, are you scared? If you are, tell Master." When I was young, Jiang Joshuan used to call me Xiaoshiba. I shook my head. "Master, I still have to annul our marriage myself. That's why I must come back alive." "All right, I'll wait for my husband to annul our marriage," she replied. Feeling the coldness of her body, I couldn't help but say, "Master, if there's ever a way to restore you to life, to give you back a human body, I'll make it happen." She had cared for me for 18 years. I had to repay her kindness and see her in her warm, living form, soft and fragrant, just as I imagined. "Xiaoshiba, you're so good. Come, let Master kiss you properly." She cupped my face with her hands, which carried a familiar scent that had accompanied me through my childhood. The fragrance at her fingertips filled my nose. Her flawless, milk-white skin seemed to glow as her stunning face drew closer. Her lips lightly touched my forehead, cool and fragrant like a slice of orange, instantly rejuvenating me. I froze. When I was good as a child, she used to kiss me like this and hold me to sleep. Back then, I'd often wake up in the morning hugging her cool legs. Even in summer, I didn't need air conditioning, it was so refreshing and soothing. But those days were long gone. It was as if she suddenly realized something and awkwardly said, "I almost forgot you're grown up now. I won't kiss you next time." I let go of her without saying a word and walked straight out of the shop. In my heart, I vowed to come back alive. For myself and for Jiang Joshuan. Just as I reached the door, she called out after me, "Husband, I'll be there too. Before you board the ship to the Yellow River Dragon Palace, remember 2 things, don't touch anything underwater, and don't interact with anyone wearing white. There'll be fishing boats near the Yellow River. Rent 1. When your boat reaches the point where one mountain has a tree at its peak and the other has a round stone, and the area is shrouded in mist, you'll know you're near the Yellow River Dragon Palace." I nodded, flagged down a car, and headed straight for the Yellow River dock. As the car pulled away, I saw her still standing in the shop's doorway, watching me leave, like a wife bidding farewell to her husband on a long journey in ancient times. I didn't want to go, but I had no choice. If I didn't take the Dragon King's head, I'd be stuck wearing this human skin mask for the rest of my life, forever hiding in the shadows. When the car drove far enough, I saw her re-enter the shop, her expression heavy. I had no idea what she intended to retrieve, and I began to worry about her safety. I closed my eyes in silence, waiting for the car to reach the dock. Perhaps because so many people were heading to the Yellow River Dragon King's wedding, there weren't many fishing boats left at the dock. Most of the remaining boats were old, with weak engines. It seemed this grand wedding had stirred the entire summer, leaving all the good boats rented out. I searched for a boat with decent power, fearing that taking 2 days to reach the Yellow River Dragon Palace would create serious problems. After searching for a long time, I only found old, slow boats owned by elderly fishermen. Did I need to spend money on a yacht? How could I afford that? Just as I was about to head to another dock, a familiar voice called out, "Hey, over here, over here." I looked up to see someone waving at me from a Yellow River sightseeing boat. It was Murong Qingcheng. She was coming too? Of course, she was Long Shiyu's best friend. Her best friend's father was getting married, so naturally, she had to attend. At least I'd have someone to accompany me. I quickly walked over and asked about the ticket prices for the boat. After all, it was a pretty big sightseeing vessel. Murong Qingcheng rolled her eyes at me. "Coming with me, and you still think you'll have to pay? If Long Shiyu found out, she'd scold me to death. I already covered your fare. Get on board." After a brief exchange with the crew, she motioned for me to follow. I felt a surge of relief and eagerly boarded the ship. This is the 8th segment out of 58. Based on the content provided, Here is the processed result while maintaining the original paragraph structure, line breaks, and layout. The sightseeing boat was filled with young men and women. Most were here just for fun, but a few carried an unusual aura, their faces shadowed with a grim expression. It was obvious they were not ordinary people. They were suppressing their energy, either heading to the Yellow River Dragon King's wedding or just joining the commotion. However, not everyone could participate in such a grand event. Otherwise, the gates of the Yellow River Dragon Palace would have been overcrowded long ago. The Dragon King's prestige in Yenxia was immense, so many people would die just to curry favor with him. Before boarding, I intentionally suppressed my energy and slipped on naturally, unnoticed by anyone. This was for the best. The boat was a mix of all sorts, better to stay vigilant. I smoothly made my way to Morong Qingcheng. Today, she dressed casually. Black, tight-fitting yoga pants hugged her long legs, while a loose t-shirt barely covered her perfectly shaped figure. Morong Jia, sis Morong, you look stunning today, I said sweetly, knowing she had paid for my ticket. She didn't even seem to hear me, clearly annoyed. No wonder she was upset about my attitude toward Longshiyu. I didn't tease her further and instead took the opportunity to practice the severance technique in secret. I asked her why she wasn't traveling with the dragon group leader. Surely the leader would have chartered a private boat to the Yellow River Dragon Palace. Who I go with is none of your business, she snapped impatiently. Fine, fine. I shrugged, exasperated. Not seeing her master around, she asked about mine. I told her he had other matters to attend to. She didn't press further. Morong Qingcheng then asked if I wanted something to eat. I declined, so she stopped talking to me altogether. All the rooms on the boat are booked. Only one's left. If you want to sleep, go in. What about you? I asked. Don't worry about me, she replied coldly. I shook my head. I think you should come in with me. Why? She frowned. I pointed toward the boarding area. Look who just got on. She turned to see, and her expression changed instantly. A man and a woman had boarded. The man was stunningly handsome, like a celebrity. The woman, however, was the complete opposite, fat, with a squarish face, no eyebrows, sparse hair, and overall very unattractive. They were an odd match. Yet, the two were deeply affectionate, their eyes only for each other. They resembled a couple madly in love, full of passion. As a fortune-teller, I knew marriage wasn't about appearances but about compatibility. However, I noticed something else, they both carried heavy death energy. Not like zombies, but rather intertwined male and female death energy. Could they be corpse retrievers from the Yellow River? The woman coughed, clearly unwell, as the man supported her attentively. Their arrival drew whispers from the young passengers aboard. Everyone wondered aloud why such a handsome man would marry such an unattractive wife. What a shame, they said. Morong Qingcheng was also puzzled. How does such a handsome guy end up with someone like her? Don't just look at appearances. She was once very beautiful, but corpse poison disfigured her, turning her into this, I explained. What kind of poison? She asked. I glanced at her. Corpse poison. She carries it, which is why she looks like this. Then the guy's not bad, she admitted, changing her tone. He's carrying heavy karma, 30 lives worth. Anyone he sets his sights on should tread carefully. He's probably on this boat in search of medicinal ingredients, I said. The man's cold gaze swept over the young passengers on board, as if selecting prey. What kind of medicinal ingredients? Morong Qingcheng frowned. A human heart to cure corpse poison, I replied. Her sense of justice flared. Committing such atrocities in broad daylight? Does it concern you? As long as he doesn't harm you, stay out of it, I shrugged. I'd seen far too many instances of kindness being repaid with betrayal. I wasn't about to meddle unnecessarily. Morong Qingcheng looked at me with disappointment. You're so cold-blooded. When faced with things like this, you should act. Where's your conscience? I didn't argue. Morong Qingcheng was truly kind-hearted. She didn't care about money and was willing to stay with the dragon group to save lives, a rarity. Even as she criticized me, I wasn't upset. Fine, you're the righteous one, aren't you? I grabbed her arm, pulling her toward the room, but she refused. You go sleep. I want to see what he's up to. Fine, just don't call me, I said, asking for the room number. After she told me, I went in directly. Morong Qingcheng looked even more disappointed in me. How can there be men like you? Fine, you're the best, alright? I retorted before entering the room. It was compact like a small apartment, with just one bed and a small sofa. It'd do. I sat down and began practicing the severance technique with focus. Before long, the boat began to move. I relaxed. At this pace, we'd reach the Yellow River Dragon Palace by tomorrow afternoon. I entered a meditative state, practicing the severance technique over 1,000 times in my mind. Just as I intended to continue, the door creaked open, and Morong Qingcheng slipped in, shaking my shoulder. Wake up. Hey, wake up. What's the matter? I opened my eyes, annoyed. That guy's about to make his move. I might not be able to take him on alone. Help me, let's stop him together, she said. Why did we board this boat, again? I asked. To go to the Dragon Palace. Why, she replied. Then why are you sticking your nose into things unrelated to the Dragon Palace? I said irritably. You. Morong Qingcheng stammered, her face turning red. Saving one life is better than building a 7-story pagoda. We're cultivators. When we see harm being done, we should act on behalf of justice and accumulate virtue. Then go save your people and walk your path. Why drag me into it? I spread my hands. She was at a loss for words, her face flushed like a ripe peach. I shouldn't have come to you. She stormed toward the door in anger. Morong Qingcheng, don't say I didn't warn you. Your current energy isn't great. You're better off staying here to avoid trouble, I said, eyes closed, still offering advice for Long Shiyu's sake. I didn't want to have to save her later. So what if I get into trouble? At least I'm not as cold-blooded as you. Someone like you leading the dragon group? The dragon group might as well disband, she yelled furiously, utterly disappointed. Her stubbornness made me angry too. I grabbed her and pulled her back, pinning her against the wall. Face to face, I could smell her faint fragrance. The sudden closeness stunned her. Her breathing quickened, and I could hear her heartbeat. Morong Qingcheng, listen closely. If it weren't for Long Shiyu, I wouldn't even bother with you. Saving others is fine, but ensure your safety first. Don't act recklessly. She froze, her voice softening. I wasn't being reckless. I just want to save people. I admire your kindness, but you're also foolish. I said coldly. Her impulsive nature stemmed from not having endured the hardships I had over 18 years. She still clung to naive fantasies, but impulsiveness would only lead to suffering. She opened her mouth to speak, her breath carrying a faint aroma, but she was utterly stunned. This is section 958. Processed as per your logic while maintaining the original paragraph structure, line breaks, and overall layout. That corpse retriever is clearly stronger than you. Are you going to throw your life away? Only save people within your ability. If you lose your life, how will you continue saving others? I continued. She remained silent for a long time, her gaze dim. I let go of her and stared at her. If I were to take over the dragon group, someone like you, who only acts impulsively and recklessly, would be the first I'd fire. Her eyes turned red. She slumped to the ground, soft and defeated. She didn't cry, but tears streamed down her cheeks. Her resolve began to crumble. Seeing the results, I stopped being harsh. I sat back down and continued practicing the slaughtering technique. After practicing it 500 times, I opened my eyes. She was still slumped over, her gaze lifeless. It was late. The boat kept moving. I intended to continue but sensed the boat slowing down. I also heard murmurs and a strange thump sound against the hull like someone knocking on the bottom of the boat. But how could anyone be there? I stood up quickly. Morong Qingcheng snapped to attention. What's happening? There might be a problem. I'll go check. I opened the cabin door and stepped out. Morong Qingcheng's attitude had noticeably softened. I gave her a strange look. She said, you were right. Save people if you can, but don't be cold-blooded. I apologize for what I said earlier. At least you saved my life. I nodded. She understood. My goal was achieved. We walked together, passing a cabin. Morong Qingcheng hesitated slightly. I knew the corpse retriever couple must be staying there. From my perception, he had already obtained a human heart. Morong Qingcheng sighed softly, saying no more. I nodded in satisfaction. I wanted to accumulate virtue to improve my fortune, but only when it was convenient. I wouldn't waste effort for nothing. With a creak, the cabin door opened. The male corpse retriever stepped out. Our eyes met. His gaze was so cold it sent shivers down my spine. Out of the corner of my eye, I saw the hideous woman lying on the bed looking much healthier. Clearly, a human heart had been used to counteract the corpse poison. He stared at me, his eyes narrowing. A flash of greed crossed his face but disappeared quickly, replaced by cold indifference. Not good. Was he targeting me? I smirked inwardly. You've picked the wrong target. Brother, we're all in the same boat. I have some good liquor in my cabin. Care to join me for a drink? He invited. He clearly intended to make a move on me. Not interested. I declined flatly, taking Morong Qingcheng with me as I walked away. He wasn't willing to give up and blocked my path. Brother, show me some respect. Just one drink. Are we close? I retorted. His eyes narrowed. What's with the attitude? Did you swallow a grenade or something? Yeah, I did. Don't mess with me, or I'll explode. I warned, unwilling to be dragged into his trap. He said nothing, closing the door with a sinister look. With my sharp hearing, I caught him muttering, "Won't drink the toast, huh? I'll take your heart and tear it apart. Let's see how cocky you'll be then." I turned back and stared at him. Evil deeds lead to self-destruction. He was startled, clearly not expecting me to hear him. Embarrassed, he looked uncomfortable. I said no more and continued walking with Morong Chingchang. "He's targeting you, isn't he?" she asked quietly. "No, I'm targeting him," I replied coldly. "Anyone who threatens me will be dealt with preemptively." Her face changed. "Can you beat him? You're a fortune teller, the weakest in combat. Should we hide? If he makes a move, I'll team up with you. You think I can't beat him, yet you wanted me to save people? To send me to my death?" I countered. She was speechless. "I already apologized. Do I need to say it again? Is an apology enough?" I grumbled. She had no response. When we reached the deck, we saw a crowd had gathered. Some were in pajamas, clearly drawn out by the commotion, all leaning over the railing to look at the water below. The man in the captain's uniform arrived in a rush with the security team, carrying life rings. Clearly, someone had fallen overboard. My expression changed. Morong Chingchang and I pushed through the crowd to see. What we saw shocked us. A figure floated in the water, face down, limbs pale. Most notably, it wore white clothing. Master Zhang Jiushuan had specifically warned me, never touch anything in the water. Never approach people in white clothing. Now, both taboos were present in the water at once. A bad omen. This was definitely no ordinary person. The situation was extremely dangerous. My journey was off to a terrible start. I couldn't let that thing board the boat. Otherwise, it would jeopardize my mission to the Yellow River Dragon Palace. What are you waiting for? Save them already. Yeah, it's the middle of the night. Falling into the water must be awful. If they die, won't your conscience hurt? Poor soul. How did they fall in? People urged, their faces filled with worry. The captain instructed the security team to throw a life ring, but I stopped them. "Don't save them. That's not a person in the water." The crowd at the bow all turned to look at me. Then, like a pot boiling over, they erupted, glaring at me with anger and pointing fingers. "How heartless can you be? They're drowning, and you're saying not to save them? If it were you in the water, wouldn't you hope someone would save you? How can you be so cold? You must be one of those keyboard warriors who post heartless comments online, right? You're disgusting. You should face legal consequences. You're a murderer." Facing their accusations, I responded coldly, "I've already said it. That thing in the water isn't human. It's a Yellow River ghost corpse. If you're not afraid to die, go ahead and save it." Normally, I wouldn't bother explaining. After all, it's none of my business. But if that ghost corpse came aboard and hindered my journey to the Yellow River Dragon Palace, who would take responsibility? You say it's a ghost corpse? Then I say you're an animal. This guy has such a rotten heart. To stop us from saving someone, he's making up these childish excuses. You don't want us to save them? Then we'll save them just to spite you. The crowd was indignant, refusing to listen to reason, determined to rescue the person. I was furious. These self-righteous fools shouted the loudest, but if anything went wrong, they'd be the first to run. Don't save them. He's a fortune teller. He can see things. That's not human in the water. If it's brought on board, someone will die. Morong Chingchun yelled. She believed me. Oh, so there's an accomplice? Are you two a couple? One's cold-blooded, the other heartless? Really birds of a feather. A fortune teller, huh? Who believes in superstitions like that in this day and age? With the internet so advanced, who listens to that nonsense? The crowd sneered, refusing to trust us. To them, we were the villains. Morong Chingchang was so angry she snapped, "These self-righteous fools don't even understand the situation and want to save someone. If they die, don't blame me. Weren't you just like them earlier?" I glanced at her. She fell silent, unable to respond. "Stop wasting time with them. Go save them already." They were still determined to pull the ghost corpse aboard. Truly fearless. I was absolutely livid, pointing at someone and snapping, "You. Stop pretending. You're 28 years old, what about your sick mother bedridden at home? How could you be so unfilial? Your mom's ill, and you're out here having fun? And you dare call me cold-blooded?" The man, with his silver hair, froze for a moment, his face flushing red. "You're talking nonsense. My mom's not sick. Then do you dare video call her right now in front of everyone?" He fumbled, unable to respond. Everyone stared at him. Panicking, he stammered, "No signal on my phone." "Forget it, I'm going to sleep." With that, he scurried off. I turned to another person. "And you, sneaking around behind your wife's back with other women. Does your wife know? It's written all over you." "Nonsense," he snapped, flustered. "Your phone's full of explicit videos. The history's still there.
Wanna share it with everyone? I didn't watch anything.
His face turned as red as a baboon's backside, stubbornly denying it.
One by one, I called out over a dozen people. Each one turned red-faced and agitated, unable to refute me. 8 stormed off in embarrassment, while the others lowered their heads, avoiding eye contact. Their reactions stunned everyone. Whenever I glanced at someone, they'd shrink back in fear. Some even pleaded, "Don't expose me, please." The group that had been crowding the bow of the boat scattered as if avoiding the plague. The people who were previously advocating for a rescue dispersed after just a few of my words. I chuckled. What a pathetic bunch of cowards. What's going on? Is he really a fortune teller? Judging by their reactions, he must have hit the nail on the head. My words struck a nerve, and gradually, some started to believe me. Now do you trust him? If he says there's no human under the water, then there isn't. Don't try to rescue it. Morong Chingcheng coldly remarked. But it still looks like a person down there. Someone hesitated. Well, the body doesn't look right. Maybe we should observe more first. The noise died down, and the rescue efforts halted. I let out a sigh of relief and asked Morong Chingcheng for some cinnabar. If I scattered it, the ghost corpse would be burned, forcing it to reveal its true form and stopping anyone from trying to save it. I also remembered Jiang Jiushuan's advice: avoid anything in the water and never interact with figures in white clothing. After all, we couldn't afford any missteps during the journey. An ill omen here would mean trouble at the Yellow River Dragon Palace later. Just then, a weak cry for help came from the water. Help me. Please. I still have a sick mother and a daughter to care for. I can't die here. Please, someone save me. Cough, cough. The voice was frail and pitiful, tugging at heartstrings. Those who doubted me earlier began to waver, their sympathy ignited once more. He sounds so pitiful. He still has a mother to look after. How could such a filial man be a ghost corpse? Maybe there's been some mistake. Their hesitation infuriated me. If it weren't for my resolve to avoid provoking the ghost corpse and my decision to heed Jiang Jiushuan's advice, I'd have spoken up long ago. But honestly, what does this have to do with me? This whole situation was a disaster, couldn't even have a peaceful boat ride. Just as I was about to scatter the cinnabar, a corpse retriever approached, glaring coldly at me. Don't listen to him. So what if he's a fortune teller? Refusing to save someone drowning just shows he's heartless. Save the person already. He sneered at me, clearly enjoying the chaos he was stirring. I was fuming. This guy was deliberately provoking me, trying to use the ghost corpse to attack me. His words threw the crowd into a frenzy. The passengers, acting irrationally, began shouting for a rescue. Some even tied ropes, preparing to jump into the water. Watching their lack of judgment, I scanned the crowd with a cold gaze, feeling utterly disheartened. Sympathy is fine, but shouldn't it be directed toward the right cause? I wasn't stopping the ghost corpse from coming aboard just to avoid delays, it was for their safety. And yet, not a single word of gratitude. After all my warnings, they let the corpse retriever sway them with just one sentence? Fine. Let them dig their own graves. Morong Chingcheng furiously scolded the crowd. What's wrong with you people? Do you even know him? How are you so sure he's a good person? One man, worked up, retorted, he's handsome, how could he be bad? His wife's not even good looking, and yet he still takes good care of her. A man like that can't be evil. Exactly. At least save the person first. If it really is a ghost corpse, we can just throw it back in the water. There's so many of us watching, what could a ghost corpse possibly do? But what if it's actually someone in need? Yeah. Save first, talk later. You're just saying not to rescue him because you're heartless. This is a life we're talking about, not some joke. Thank goodness this handsome guy reminded us, or we'd be letting someone die. The crowd turned on me, accusing and berating me for being callous. Morong Chingcheng was seething. The corpse retriever smirked, watching the drama unfold like a spectator at a show. She asked me, what now? They've all gone mad. I replied calmly, let them go mad, then. She froze, not understanding my meaning. I glanced down at the ghost corpse in the water. Its fingers were blackened, and I could hear it summoning its companions. Clearly, the Yellow River ghost corpses never acted alone. One served as bait, while the others lay in wait. In the past, I would have panicked. But now, I remained composed. Since they're so eager to rescue it, let them. The corpse retriever's expression shifted. He hadn't expected me to give in so easily. Exactly. There's so many of us, what can a ghost corpse even do? One ghost corpse couldn't possibly take all of us down. Coward. I work out all the time, anyway. The crowd relaxed, their confidence growing. But their mocking tone was laced with ignorance. Alright, it's your call. Go ahead and save him. I stepped aside. Let's do it. The passengers sprang into action. Someone tied a rope, jumped into the water, and secured a lifebuoy around the ghost corpse. Morong Chingcheng's face turned pale. What do we do? There's definitely more than one ghost corpse. Once one gets on board, the others within miles will swarm us. Yeah, they're already sneaking closer, I said. What? Morong Chingcheng cried in panic. Stop pulling it up.
The passengers shot her angry glares.
What's your problem? Just let us get him on board already. You people. Morong Chingcheng's face flushed red with rage. I remained expressionless.
Pull him up, the young man in the water shouted.
Everyone together. Let's get him aboard.
Dozens of passengers worked in unison, pulling the ghost corpse out of the water.
Water cascaded from its body as it was hauled onto the boat.
The young man was also pulled up.
Be careful.
With a loud splash, the ghost corpse was placed gently on the deck.
Its body was soaked, its skin unsettlingly pale, trembling slightly.
The water dripping from it carried a thick, nauseating stench. The crowd gathered around.
He's obviously alive, not a ghost corpse. Yeah, that fortune teller was so wrong, accusing a living person of being a ghost corpse. How heartless.
Here's the translated content tailored to align with how it might be expressed for an American audience, maintaining the original structure, paragraph breaks, and overall layout.
Good thing we insisted on saving people first. Otherwise, we would have been accomplices. I actually believed him before.
Turns out you can't judge a book by its cover.
Who knew that fortune teller was so evil?
The crowd glared at me with fury, their eyes burning with anger, as though they were ready to jump me.
I asked calmly, is this the person you're trying to save? Yes. Don't leave. I'm calling the police to have you arrested. You deserve to rot in prison.
The mob's anger boiled over, and they painted me as the callous villain.
All right then, you're right. This has nothing to do with me anymore.
I shrugged and took Morong Chingcheng by the arm, heading for the lifeboat.
Don't you dare leave. Forget it.
Someone like that will face their own punishment.
Saving lives is more important. Who here's a doctor? We need help. The group turned their focus to saving the person.
The corpse retriever blocked my path, his tone icy.
What are you really trying to do? Weren't you the one who told them to save lives first? Now that the person's been pulled out, why aren't you helping? I raised an eyebrow. He frowned. Help with what? This isn't my concern. I'm here for you. He's a doctor. Go help them out. I shouted. What? He's a doctor? Wow, what a great guy. Hurry up, get over there.
The crowd's eyes lit up as they dragged the corpse retriever toward the zombie corpse. He was livid, glaring daggers at me.
Don't pull me. I'm not a doctor. Don't be modest. Saving lives comes first. They tightened their grip on him.
His face darkened as he struggled to break free. I appeared behind him suddenly and delivered a heavy punch to his back.
Boom!
He let out a muffled groan, nearly breaking a rib, blood spurting from his mouth as he stared at me in shock.
You dare sneak attack me, he growled. Weren't you the one to start messing with me first? I replied.
He stumbled back several steps, equal parts furious and stunned, but he no longer had the strength to fight back. The group of 7 or 8 hauled him toward the zombie corpse, and panic finally set in. He had planned to take advantage of the chaos to snatch my heart, but he hadn't expected me to play along with saving people and to hit him so hard.
Let me go. That's a zombie corpse. Damn it, he shouted, recognizing the horde of undead. He's human. Weren't you just saying we should save him? Doctor, quick, save him.
The crowd forced him to his knees. He was on the verge of losing it, while I smirked coldly.
Morong Chingcheng lowered the lifeboat, and we leapt aboard. Don't go. I'll report you to the police, someone yelled with a glare. Suddenly, the zombie corpse was flipped over, and a piercing scream came from the boat. Why are his teeth so black?
And his nails, they're like claws.
He's not human. He's a zombie corpse. A zombie corpse. Ah, don't panic. Hold him down.
There's more of us than there are of him, we can handle this. People at the bow of the boat tried to pin the zombie corpse down, but its strength was monstrous, far beyond what ordinary people could manage.
This thing's way too strong, someone cried as they were flung into the air. One young man was tossed into the water.
He swam desperately back to the boat, convinced he'd be safe once he climbed aboard.
But suddenly, 2 pale hands emerged from the water and clutched his neck.
He screamed, his voice filled with terror, his soul seemingly leaving his body.
Moments later, a fanged corpse face surfaced, sinking its teeth into his neck with a vicious bite. Blood gushed in all directions. There's more than one.
There are so many underwater, the young man shouted, his eyes filled with regret, as he was dragged beneath the surface and disappeared. The screams from the boat drew attention as people leaned over the edge, only to have their courage evaporate in an instant. In the murky water, one ghastly black-toothed face appeared after another, a swarm of 30 or more zombie corpses rising to the surface.
A chill ran down everyone's spines.
Oh my god, it's a whole horde of zombie corpses.
Help! Somebody help us! Panic consumed the boat.
The earlier sense of righteousness and anger was obliterated, leaving only fear and chaos.
Young man, don't go. Please save us. These zombie corpses are too strong, we can't hold them down. There are so many underwater. I'm so scared. Please, come save us.
They cried, pleaded, some even wetting themselves in sheer terror, overcome with regret.
Weren't you all insistent on saving him? I asked flatly. We didn't know he was a zombie corpse, they protested in desperation. I told you from the start it was a zombie corpse, but you wouldn't believe me. Who's to blame for that? I said, my tone steady and calm. They had no response, their faces red with shame. You didn't stop us from pulling him aboard. We didn't understand. It's ignorance on our part. You should have insisted more, we would have listened. With great power comes great responsibility. How could you abandon us? We didn't know it would turn out like this. They kept trying to justify themselves, refusing to accept their own fault. Sure, you're all right. I shrugged. By the way, there's a zombie corpse climbing up at the stern. Their bites are pretty nasty. But hey, thanks to your insistence on pulling that zombie corpse aboard, it won't go hungry now. You're so kind, why not offer yourselves up to feed them? Well, I'm off. Bye. I waved as I left. The zombie corpses that had just been hauled aboard tossed aside the life ring and climbed up the rope faster than anyone could react. Their numbers were staggering. What? There are so many of them climbing aboard. Help! Don't come any closer. I know I was wrong, don't eat me. Ah! The bow of the boat descended into utter chaos. Screams echoed endlessly as blood splattered everywhere. The zombie corpses tore into the panicked crowd, biting through necks and draining their victims dry, leaving behind shriveled husks. Some of the bodies fell into the river, sinking slowly into the murky depths. The dried, lifeless faces were frozen in expressions of terror and regret. They had been drained of every last drop of blood, fully understanding what pain truly meant. But regret was futile. Adults must live with the consequences of their actions. The corpse retriever's face turned ashen, knowing full well the power of the zombie corpses. He frantically begged for his life. Several zombie corpses surrounded him, their eyes fixed on their prey. He roared and fled into the boat's cabin, where the sounds of a struggle ensued. His fate remained unknown. I stood silently, watching his frantic state, and couldn't help but laugh. Though a single zombie corpse wasn't much of a threat, the sheer number of them was overwhelming. Naturally, I wasn't about to take the risk of staying on the boat. These people had dug their own graves. I'd step aside and skip the sightseeing cruise. Beside me, Morong Chingcheng sighed heavily. In the past, she would have rushed onto the boat to save people, unwilling to leave with me. But now, she understood. At that moment, a few zombie corpses swam rapidly toward me, and Morong Chingcheng immediately tensed. I remained calm and said, there are still so many regular folks on that boat. Why would you come for me? If you accidentally hurt me, things could get complicated. Besides, those people who were shouting the loudest earlier, the ones who insisted on dragging your boss aboard, they reek of blood. After all, they just got back from their shift at Lesan Giant Buddha. My voice was steady and loud, my gaze sharp. This is segment 1258. Here's the processed content, maintaining the original paragraph structure, line breaks, and overall layout. If they don't know their place, I wouldn't mind using the Thunderstrike sword to strike them down on the spot. After all, the sword's lightning is the bane of ghostly entities. As expected, the ghost corpses realized I wasn't to be trifled with. They avoided the lifeboat and swam toward the cruise ship instead. Soon, louder screams echoed from afar. Without looking back, I continued steering the lifeboat forward. The fuel shortage became a concern. Thankfully, midway, we came across a fishing boat. The kind-hearted fisherman, a husband and wife, brought us aboard. Morong Chingcheng and I sat at the bow of the boat, listening to their conversation. They warned us over there, don't ever let ghost corpses aboard. Just earlier, a cruise ship had more than 30 ghost corpses climb aboard, killing over 80 people and causing 30 others to disappear. How could ghosts climb onto such a large ship? No idea. Floating corpses in the water shouldn't be rescued recklessly. These people didn't even have basic water safety knowledge, serves them right. Hearing how casually they discussed ghost corpses climbing aboard, Morong Chingcheng and I exchanged a glance. We thought, it proves wise not to squeeze onto the same boat with those self-righteous folks. That's why our journey has been smooth so far. Although slow, by noon the next day, I finally saw the location Jiang Jiushuan had described, Huanghe Dragon Palace. On the mountaintop to the left stood a massive tree, its trunk drooping down like an old man leaning on his hands. On the mountaintop to the right was a giant boulder, free of man-made carvings, appearing as if shaped by nature's hand. Thick fog had already enveloped the area. The fishing couple didn't stop but continued forward. For ordinary people, no matter how much they searched, they wouldn't find a way into the Huanghe Dragon Palace here. I felt both vigilant and excited. Perhaps tomorrow, I'd finally face the Huanghe Dragon King and put an end to 18 years of humiliation. I asked the fishermen to dock. They were surprised, saying there was no path here. I smiled and said we were here for an adventure. Unable to dissuade us, they reluctantly stopped the boat. The area turned out to be a steep slope, desolate and uninhabited, yet scattered with chaotic footprints,
indicating that quite a few people had already entered the Dragon Palace.
I asked them, "You've been married for years without children?" Their shocked expressions confirmed it.
I said, "Try choosing specific days for marital relations, like the 3rd, 9th, 13th, or 28th of each month, and after 9 p.m.
It might help you conceive. Give it a shot." After saying this, I leapt ashore, with Morong Chingcheng following behind. The couple thanked us as if meeting living deities.
I sighed inwardly. Strangers like them trust me so easily, yet the people on the boat were full of doubts. Truly, different lives take different paths. Watching the couple depart with gratitude, I scanned the surroundings, pondering the terrain. A concealment technique must be at play here.
Why were there only footprints by the shore? Where did everyone go? Morong Chingcheng said, "We wait here. Long Shiyu will send someone to meet us."
I didn't say much, falling into thought. Last time, that weasel spirit mentioned that dragons have 9 offspring. 18 years ago, 7 of them died.
The remaining one, Long Shiyu, I've already met.
This must be another offspring. I just don't know if it's male or female. After waiting for a while, thick fog surrounded us, so dense that I couldn't see my own hand in front of my face. Though the sound of water was audible, cold winds seemed to blow from within the walls.
The concealment technique must have activated. The Huanghe Dragon Palace lay within.
I clenched my fists, flames igniting in my eyes.
"Dragon King, it's been 18 years. You've driven me to hide and flee.
Now, I'm finally coming to see you face to face. The pain, humiliation, and frustration of these 18 years, I'll return it all to you.
Don't go in."
A familiar voice suddenly rang in my ear. I froze, turning back to see nothing but the murky river water. No one was there.
"What's wrong?"
Morong Chingcheng sensed something strange.
"Someone spoke to me," I replied.
That voice, I remembered it clearly. Back when Lu Wenwen caused the mother and child's death, the ghost infant possessed the driver and nearly killed me. I escaped by jumping into the river, and it was a woman who pushed me from underwater, saving me from the impact.
I never expected her to appear today,
warning me not to enter the Huanghe Dragon Palace just before I stepped in.
Why? Who was she? Why stop me? Is there someone else here? I didn't hear anything. Are you sure you're not mistaken? Morong Chingcheng looked puzzled.
I tried to listen again, but there was no further sound.
Could it have been an illusion? Someone's coming. Let's follow them in, Morong Chingcheng urged.
In the white mist, the wall before us transformed into a narrow path, resembling a crack in a canyon or perhaps an open, blood-red mouth. Ancient stone slabs paved the way, extending into the fog, shrouded in mystery. Large red lanterns hung on both sides, their glow adding to the eerie atmosphere. The path was wet, with messy footprints leading in. Clearly, many had already entered.
It seemed the Huanghe Dragon King's wedding was indeed lively. My heart raced. "Dragon King, here I come."
A little girl with emerald green eyes ran toward us, introducing herself as Shiyu's messenger.
She politely invited us in.
Morong Chingcheng nodded, but I stared at her with suspicion.
That voice couldn't have been an auditory hallucination. Why had it warned me not to enter?
I pondered silently, daring only to lightly explore the meaning of don't, wary of alerting others. After all, there were too many people here. Morong Chingcheng urged me to move, and I had no choice but to follow the little girl. Inside, excitement and restraint mixed within me. 18 years of pent-up emotion was close to erupting.
"Where is your master, Long Shiyu, now?" Morong Chingcheng asked.
The little girl replied that her master was in the Dragon King's bedchamber.
"How is the Dragon King's health?" she asked again.
The little girl smiled, saying that the Dragon King had not left the bedchamber recently but was doing well and would be getting married tomorrow. Morong Chingcheng glanced at me, but I stayed silent. Though the little girl appeared cheerful, something about the red hue she exuded seemed tainted, like a pot of porridge with a rat's droppings. I deduced that someone was stirring up trouble in the Huanghe Dragon Palace.
What kind of trouble? Perhaps someone was stealing something. Who would dare steal from the Huanghe Dragon Palace? On my first visit, to encounter such chaos, it was truly astonishing.
The little girl seemed unaware, continuing to lead the way. I quietly pulled Morong Chingcheng aside to share my suspicions. She was surprised.
"Shouldn't you inform the Dragon King immediately?" "Inform him? Ha!" I sneered. "Don't you want to use this opportunity to earn his favor and make a name for yourself on your first visit? Maybe he'll." "Don't worry. Tomorrow, I'll make sure he remembers me," I responded coldly. Morong Chingcheng fell silent.
The little girl led us through winding paths, and soon, a massive ancient structure appeared before us, like a paradise hidden from the world. It looked exactly like an imperial palace.
This grand, golden palace, nestled in a mountain basin, covered at least several hundred acres.
It stretched as far as the eye could see, giving me the illusion that the Forbidden City had been relocated here.
I was secretly amazed. "So, this is the Huanghe Dragon Palace?" From this angle, I couldn't locate the Dragon King's bedchamber. There were simply too many buildings to discern. Let me know if you need any further assistance. This is section 13 out of 58.
I will process it based on your request, maintaining the original paragraph structure, line breaks, and overall formatting.
Here is the processed result.
The little stream's owner said that the wedding guests were originally staying here, but she arranged for you to rest in her room, the little girl said, pointing to a row of buildings on the left.
I followed her gaze.
There were at least hundreds of rooms, most were already lit, indicating a significant number of guests. Some were gathered in groups of 3 or 5, chatting away. In my mind, I was still pondering whether the millennial fox spirit in the kitchen god had arrived yet.
With so many guests, a thief could easily hide among them without being noticed.
Moreover, it wouldn't be convenient for the Yellow River Dragon Palace to conduct a thorough investigation. If something went missing, they wouldn't dare to make a fuss about it, which would give the thief the perfect opportunity to act.
What a cunning plan! Who would have thought that a wedding guest might also be a thief?
I even considered sneaking out at night to help the Water Palace Empress retrieve the antidote for the dragon poison. But I knew it was too risky. If the Dragon King was in his quarters, my rash actions would be nothing short of a death wish.
Putting those thoughts aside, the little girl led me to the right. This area was clearly not meant for guest accommodations. It featured independent courtyards filled with exotic flowers and plants, their fragrance overwhelming the senses. It was obviously a space meant for women. The door creaked open as the little girl pushed it. The room was simple, just a bed and a few pieces of furniture, without any lavish decor. It seemed like a place meant for occasional stays. Long Shiyu and the Yellow River Dragon King didn't get along, so she rarely stayed in the palace. She had a company in the mortal world.
I inadvertently glanced at the background wall and noticed a painting hanging there, a simple sketch of bamboo, yet lively and upright, brimming with rebellious spirit. A closer look at the signature revealed it was an authentic piece by Zhang Banxiao.
Its presence in the Dragon Palace was undoubtedly genuine. I couldn't help but wonder, was this painting her favorite, or the Dragon King's? Having lived for so long, it's not surprising if they shared similar tastes. There might even be an authentic Lanting Su by Wang Shiji somewhere in the palace. The little girl suddenly froze. The owner, Shiyu, was here just now, but she might have stepped out for a moment. Morong Qingcheng and I nodded, sitting down to enjoy some tea and snacks. Not long after, Long Shiyu returned, fuming. How infuriating. Someone actually stole something from the Dragon Palace. She had gone out to chase the thief but failed to catch them. Whatever was stolen seemed crucial. She was visibly anxious. When she saw me, although her face still carried traces of anger, her eyes sparkled with a hint of joy. Morong Qingcheng, surprised, asked, "Someone really stole something? How do you know?" Long Shiyu was skeptical. Morong Qingcheng chuckled.
Your younger brother guessed there might be a thief as soon as we arrived.
And it turns out he was right.
If you want to catch the thief, why not let him help analyze the situation? Long Shiyu's eyes lit up. She hurried over to me.
Little brother, did you really figure out there was a thief as soon as you got here? I was puzzled inside. What exactly was stolen?
Morong Qingcheng glanced at me, but I simply shook my head.
I don't know. She's just making things up.
Long Shiyu, exasperated, turned to Morong Qingcheng, who subtly nodded and gestured at her.
Long Shiyu immediately grew angry.
Don't lie to me, even to my face.
I insisted, I really don't know.
This wasn't my problem to solve, and I had no intention of getting involved.
Long Shiyu grew more anxious.
The wedding is tomorrow, and if the guests find out today that the Jingong stone is missing, the Dragon Palace will become a laughingstock.
The Jingong stone? I was taken aback.
So her urgency was because the Jingong stone had been stolen. My master had mentioned it before. The Jingong stone was the cornerstone of the Yellow River Dragon Palace. It held a piece of the Yellow River Dragon King's dragon scale and was extremely precious. With that stone, the Yellow River Dragon Palace could remain stable and unshaken for 1,000 years. It even stayed pristine without the need for cleaning. But without it, the palace would lose its spiritual energy and might collapse, which would undoubtedly damage the Dragon King's reputation. But what did this have to do with me? So what if the Yellow River Dragon King lost a little face today? Tomorrow, during the wedding, the embarrassment would only multiply. I don't care, you have to help me with this.
Long Shiyu began clinging to me. Come on, it's just a small matter for you.
Treat it as practice and show off your skills to the Dragon King and the guests.
Morong Qingcheng joined in, also trying to persuade me. I'm tired. I want to sleep.
I lay down on the bed, which was surprisingly comfortable.
Get up. That's my bed. You have to help me. Long Shiyu pushed me hard, pulling me upright. I refused to get up and even closed my eyes, pretending to sleep.
To my surprise, she covered my mouth and nose, cutting off my breathing.
I was speechless. Seeing no reaction from me, she became even more outrageous. Wearing denim shorts, she pinned me down, one of her fair legs pressing against my stomach. Her smooth, pale leg was almost blinding. Annoyed, I said, "Are you done?" "Nope. If you don't help me find the thief, I'll smother you to death." She went further, standing up and stepping on my chest. Was her next move to stomp on my face? I glared at her. "What's wrong with you?" Annoyed, I pushed her away and reluctantly sat up. She wrapped her arms around my neck. "I don't care. If you don't help me, I'll keep pestering you." Even Morong Chingcheng was laughing by now. I was truly at my wit's end. She clung to me persistently. Although she was stunning and had a great figure, her antics gave me goosebumps and made me feel nauseous. "Let go," I growled. "Nope, not a chance." "La la la." She kept clinging. I had no choice. I couldn't take it anymore. Seeing as she'd been decent lately and I didn't dislike her, I refrained from kicking her away. "Let go first, and I'll tell you what to do." He. She smiled mischievously and let go. She even started massaging my shoulders, trying to butter me up. "I knew you were bluffing. Little brother, go on, I'm all ears." Her eyes sparkled with anticipation. Even Morong Chingcheng looked intrigued. "What's in it for me if I tell you?" I asked. "Oh, plenty of benefits. I'll buy you a sports car, a villa, and even find you 10 wives, 10 abroad and 10 locally." Long Shiyu offered. I rolled my eyes. Seeing that I wasn't moved, she continued, "He said whoever finds the Jingong stone will be the guest of honor at tomorrow's wedding." Clearly, he referred to the Yellow River Dragon King. Since she didn't call him father, their relationship must be strained. I had no need for that guest of honor position. Tomorrow, I just wanted to stay in an inconspicuous corner during the wedding, waiting for the Water Palace Empress's signal. As soon as the Dragon King appeared, I'd grab the antidote. Being too noticeable would only make things difficult. "Tomorrow, there'll also be wedding games. I can ask him to give you an extra chance to participate," she added. I frowned. Who had the time for games? A cold sneer formed in my heart. This was definitely just a trick to liven up the atmosphere. "What game?" I asked flatly. "I don't know either, but the winner gets to make a request, and he'll have to fulfill it." Her tone suddenly turned serious. "I hope you win. That way, you can make him agree to your request, like letting you off the hook?" "Let me off the hook?" I laughed immediately. "I don't need him to let me off the hook. He's badly injured, the upper hand is mine." Suddenly, I realized something. I spun around sharply, grabbing Long Shiyu by the shoulders, staring her down with deadly intensity. She froze. "Little bro, you're hurting me. I've never asked you this, do you even know who I am?" I kept my voice low, threatening. If she answered wrong, I'd make sure she never spoke again. Tomorrow was my one and only chance in 18 years. I couldn't let anyone ruin it, especially this so-called sister in front of me, Long Shiyu. Morong Chingcheng, standing nearby, also tensed up. She quickly shut the door, guarding it to make sure no one barged in. The room became so quiet you could hear every breath. Long Shiyu looked at me and said, "You really hurt me, little bro. My shoulders are swollen, it really hurts." I stared at her for a full 10 seconds before slowly loosening my grip. Her expression was clear, she had already recognized me. Who told her? My heart tightened. It seemed her first visit to me was no coincidence at all. But if she knew who I was, why hadn't she told the Dragon King of the Yellow River? Could it be that she was on my side? Was it out of sympathy since we were peers? Or was there some hidden motive? Either way, she genuinely treated me like a brother. This made me feel a pang of guilt. I shouldn't have grabbed her so hard earlier, nor should I have doubted her. After all, she had been kind to me during this time. Long Shiyu rubbed her shoulders, looking aggrieved. Just as I was about to apologize, she suddenly flipped me over, pinning me beneath her. Her knee pressed into my back. I was stunned. Stop. My back's gonna break." She leaned in close and laughed softly. "I'm just messing with you. Did you really think you could hurt me? You've got some nerve, huh? Even daring to grab your sister like that?" Then she slapped my backside hard. It hurt so much I almost cried out. Even my master had never hit me like that. "You deserved it. Now apologize," she demanded. At the door, Morong Chingcheng let out a sigh of relief. "All right, I'm sorry," I said, resigned. "And, thanks for not telling him who I am." "Now that sounds about right," Long Shiyu said, clearly pleased, tilting her head to listen. "Call me sister, let's hear it." I held it in for a long moment before muttering quietly, "Sister. That's a good boy." She nodded in satisfaction but didn't ease the pressure on my back. I sighed. "Sister, you're hurting me." "What's a little pain compared to the heartbreak you've caused me?" she retorted. Just a few days ago, she had been crying and begging me for something, and I had turned her down. Seeing that she was still mad and hadn't let go, I decided not to hold a grudge. This was just sibling banter, nothing to take seriously. I changed the subject and asked who told her about my identity. I had been wearing a human skin mask given to me by Jiang Zhoushuan, thinking it concealed me well. But for her to come directly to my shop, someone must have tipped her off. She said, "I don't know who it was." My expression darkened. Long Shiyu had no reason to lie to me, but this informant was certainly mysterious. It was a woman. What kind of woman? I probed. I never saw her. She had a very gentle voice. My gaze flickered. How could this woman know my identity? It was strange. Wait. A thought struck me. I remembered a woman, the one whose voice I'd heard before entering the Dragon Palace. She had called me by name. I hurriedly asked, did her voice sound soft and textured? Exactly. Long Shiyu nodded. Do you know her? I shook my head and recounted my first encounter with her. Long Shiyu was startled. Other than your master, is there really someone else who knows who you are? Think carefully, who could she be? I couldn't figure it out. She was shrouded in mystery but didn't seem to have ill intentions. Why would she tell Long Shiyu? She must have had her reasons. I needed to think carefully about what she meant by the word don't. Forget about her for now. What do you think about the wedding game? If you win, you can make him let you go, Long Shiyu said earnestly. Is that even possible? I shook my head. He's been hunting me for 18 years, how could he possibly let me go just because of a game? I don't need him to let me go. I need to repay him for years of humiliation and misery in broad daylight. There will be many guests tomorrow. His word is his bond. If you ask, he'll have to let you go, Long Shiyu insisted. I don't need his mercy. I refused again. But the idea of winning the game and making a public request intrigued me. My eyes lit up. Long Shiyu smacked me again. You're so stubborn. I didn't respond. She hit me again. Still, I didn't say a word. By the third time, her hand was raised but didn't come down. At that moment, Morong Qingcheng softly interjected, Shiyu, don't push him. Someone who's suffered for 18 years will never submit to their enemy. He's an adult now, a man. She looked at me as she spoke. I was taken aback. I hadn't expected her to understand me. Long Shiyu paused, then asked me quietly, little bro, do you really not want to? I shook my head. Long Shiyu was silent for a few seconds before sighing. You're so disobedient, I don't like you anymore. She let go of me, but still rubbed my back gently. Did I hurt you earlier? A little, I admitted. How about I buy you 3 sports cars to apologize? Long Shiyu offered. I was speechless. Did she think I was a child? Don't want cars? Fine, I'll take you to a club and get 10 girls to keep you company, she suggested. I was on the verge of breaking down. Shiyu, how can you, as his sister, even suggest taking him to a place like that? Morong Qingcheng said, exasperated.